think we're set to begin now. So I will hand the floor to Mr. Azay Quliyev, who is a Vice President of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly and a Member of Parliament from Azerbaijan.
Thank you, Ned. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure and honor to welcome all of you. First of all, I'd like to thank to all the representatives of mass media for showing interest. And as Nat introduced me, my name is Azay Quliyev. I am a member of Azerbaijan Parliament and Vice President of the OECPA and the Special Coordinator of the OEC Observation Mission, as well as the OEC Short-Term Observation Mission Leader. As Special Coordinator, as it already mentioned here, I led almost 400 short-term observers who deployed around the country, including strong delegation from the OEC Audit Office and the OECE Parliamentary Assembly and the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe and European Parliament. Together, we have agreed on the following statement of preliminary findings and conclusions on the presidential election which took place yesterday here in Kyrgyzstan. The 15th October presidential election in the Kyrgyz Republic contributed to the strengthening of democratic institutions by providing for an orderly transfer of power from one elected president to another. The election was competitive as voters had a wide choice and candidates could in general campaign freely, although cases of misuse of public resources, pressure on voters, and vote buying remain a concern. The technical aspects of the election were well administered, but the adjudication of election disputes by the Central Commission for Elections and Referenda was at times biased. While televised debates contributed to greater pluralism, self-censorship and limited editorial coverage of the campaign signaled deficiencies in media freedom. Voting was orderly and well organized in large majority of polling stations observed. Despite problems with ballot secrecy, numerous and significant procedural problems were noted during the vote count and the initial stages of tabulation. The legal framework, which underwent numerous amendments in 2017, in general adequately regulates many technical aspects of electoral process. However, some aspects of legal provisions, including campaigning and campaign financing, citizen observation, and complaints, are not comprehensive and lack clarity. The election was technically well organized by the election administration bodies, but there was concern over the neutrality of the CEC. In general, CEC members worked professionally, but in some cases favored certain candidates, which resulted in disagreements during decision-making on important issues and negatively affected the CEC impartiality. The voter register is based on the centralized population register and contains biometric data of all voters. While the voter registration and verification system enjoys general confidence, a significant number of Kyrgyzstani citizens, mainly those residing abroad, didn't undergo biometric registration. 11 presidential candidates stood for election, giving voters a wide choice. Nevertheless, a burdensome nomination process challenged the inclusiveness of the registration process. The registered candidates could generally campaign freely, but there were several accusations of misconduct. There were also several ongoing criminal cases against opposition politicians or others supporting one of the main candidates. Recent legal amendments significantly increased the limits for contribution to candidates' campaigns and removed the spending limit. These raise concerns over equality for candidates. The law doesn't require disclosure of sources of campaign funding and doesn't provide proportionate sanctions for violations of campaign finance rules. The Constitution guarantees freedom of expression and explicitly prohibits criminal prosecution for defamation. However, defamation claims had an adverse effect on public debate and resulted in cases of self-censorship. Most complaints received by the CEC before election day concerned violations of campaign rules. The CEC maintained an online registry of complaints which enhanced transparency. But while the CEC considered most complaints, it didn't always use sanctions available or provide effective remedies. National minorities were involved in the election campaign, and although candidates competed for the minority vote, contested platforms didn't specifically address the situation of national minorities or their integration into society. While we didn't observe an anti-minority rhetoric during the campaign, inter-ethnic issues were at times utilized for political ends. Civil society played an important role in civic and voter education and also undertook comprehensive election observation. This contributed to increasing the transparency of election process at all. Election day was peaceful and transparent, and voter turnout, as announced by the CEC, was 56%. There were some challenges, but in general, election day proceeded calmly and without any major incident. I hope Ambassador Kirchevsky will provide us more details. Taking this opportunity, I thank our partners from the OECPA, Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, and European Parliament, and of course, ODIHR, for working fruitfully and expressing our opinion in the one's voice. To conclude my remarks, on behalf of the International Election Observation Mission, I would like to thank the Kyrgyz authorities for inviting us to monitor this presidential election. I also congratulate the people of Kyrgyzstan for well-run and competitive election and wish all the best, success, peace, and prosperity. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Guliyev.